Yeah, you see me.
Awesome. How are you?
Good. And you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Once again, thank you so much for your time. I know things have been kind of crazy lately, so
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it was really, really crazy. I was on tour and then suddenly it got canceled and then another tour got canceled and wow, crazy.
crazy. Obviously this is an exciting time to be talking to you, but it's also kind of a sad time because of the tour and being canceled. I guess my first question is, how is the band faring given the situation with the coronavirus and the cancellation?
Well, we had to find a plan B because we were very much looking forward to starting this tour and that was, I mean, a big part of our promotion was based on it.
Hmm.
We were going to tour with Serenity Dynasty and Victorious in Europe for a little bit less than 2 weeks and promote our album and then continue to speak about it and hopefully grow our fan base and but it just arrived um like a bomb a little bit. We had to find a plan B, see how we go on with the promotion and yeah, but I mean it's part of the game.
I mean, what's the latest looking like for a plan B at this point? Do you know where things are going to end up?
Um, we already spoke with our booker who is trying to find some other dates more at the end of the year.
Okay. Oh, okay. Much later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and the tour has been postponed to next year. It's actually already scheduled now, um, and yeah, we will just try to make more promotion online. We're lucky to live in a time where there's a lot of things happening online, so we'll take advantage of this and use it as much as we can.
Understandable. I mean, there's a lot of bands that are doing live streaming now, and I was curious if that might be something you might consider.
Yeah, we actually talked about it. Now the problem we have is that the borders are closed. So this is just a little bit tricky because this is a good opportunity to still make a concert happen and share it with actually much more people than if we were doing one concert in one place. But we have one musician in Sweden, one
Oh,
musician
okay.
in, I mean, I'm in Denmark, and two in Germany, and both the Danish and the German borders are now closed.
Wow.
So I have no clue how it's gonna evolve in the next weeks.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, but again, the exciting thing is Chapter One Monarchy.
Yeah.
Is the release date still happening on the third, or has that been
Yes.
pushed back also?
No, no, it's happening on the third.
Awesome. That's very exciting. I mean, admittedly, I had only recently gotten to really hear the album, but everything I heard is amazing. You have a lot to be
Thank
proud of.
you. Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Especially that you flipped the bill for the majority of it, and then did the Kickstarter for the other portion. That's impressive. I mean, not only have you delivered a incredible sound quality in the music, but also the whole package. By everything that you've done with this, you've really delivered top-notch package all around.
Thank you so much. It was actually it was a challenge for our first album to know exactly how we wanted it to sound in terms of compositions and in terms of mix and master. And for the composition, we had to explore at first because it actually started in 2016, I think, when I
Oh,
really worked on the first compositions. And but it wasn't sounding at all the way it sounds today. At that time I was still searching for a style and I was more going into the direction of Hailstorm because that was what I was listening to at the moment a lot. And then I approached Oliver Phillips, and he said, doesn't really fit your voice. I don't have this, let's say, dirty voice that, for example, Lizzie has. Um, and so I explored again, and I thought, okay, what kind of songs do I like to listen and sing, and and then I thought, but this is obvious because I'm a big fan of bands like Camelot or Delane or Nightwish and Lacuna Coil, for example. And I thought, but why am I searching elsewhere? Because that's the things I like to, for example, rehearse. And this is how we found the genre of the band. And then for the when it comes to the mix, we kind of left it to Jacob Hansen, who's the master of of this genre. And we said, okay, what do you have in mind? And he did the first mix, and what we loved about it was that you could hear the power of metal first, you know, not the symphonic orchestrations first, but really the power of the drums, of the guitars. And then you have this little this nice envelope of orchestrations, which is the cherry on the cake.
For sure. I mean, that's the one thing I noted right away is, and in your case, I mean, you have such a wide range from the lighter vocals to the heavier, and that all comes through crystal clear. And then you got every instrument, every nuance of every instrument sounding so crisp and clean.
Yeah.
Again, top
This
notch.
is this is the magic of Jacob. You can hear every single instrument. There was no, you know, I remember this first album I did with my first band, and when we were mixing it, there was this fight. Like, yeah, I cannot hear the guitar solo, and then you turn it up, and then there's a bass player. Oh, I cannot hear the bass anymore. Okay, and then and there was none of this.
I think it should give you a lot of confidence to know that come release day, I think that everyone is going to be feeling the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to the reactions on the entire album. I was really nervous because when we released the first single, which was not really the first single because we released I Am the Storm a while ago, but our channel, and then we released Marching on Versailles on the Napalm Records channel, and this is where you kind of, it's like being put completely naked in front of the window and there's a lot of people watching. That kind of feeling, because you have a lot of metal fans which are not your fans, and then they get to hear and judge you, and you have the comments. And I was really nervous because I thought, okay, this is the first time we do it with this band, and the reactions were so positive that at first it was a relief and very, very nice feeling. And then I was like, oh, I want to release the other songs in the entire album, and I'm really, really looking forward.
How you said that some of the songs had evolved over time. How would you say they evolved to what they are in the final product?
I'm not sure I understand.
Like you said, some of the songs were written a couple of years ago, and but
Yeah.
they kind of changed due to
Oh, well, I didn't, I had the first couple of songs, and when we realized that it was not the right direction, I just started over. Yeah.
okay. And the album has actually got a theme of time and perception of time. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean that the whole album is based mainly on the period when Louis XIV was the king of France. But what I always like to say is it's not like a typical concept album where when you listen to the first song, you have the beginning of the story of his life, and when you listen to the last song, when you go through the album and arrive at the last song, you have an idea of who he was and whatever. There's a taste of Versailles and his life and the life of people around him, but there are some songs that are more abstract in the lyrics. I mean, you can take. I always give this example of "See You in Hell," for example, where it's the story of a woman poisoning her lover, and I mean, if you are familiar with the story of Louis XIV, you will know that there was this famous affair of poisons where a lot of people got killed by poisoning because it was simply the easy way to get rid of someone, and your enemy or your annoying neighbor or whatever. But it's not, in the lyrics, it's still abstract. And also in the song Infected Monarchy, there's this comparison between people of the high society and the people from the low society. But this is something you can also feel right now, you know. So yeah,
Unfortunately, yeah, the
yeah,
two
unfortunately. So I made sure to, when I was writing the lyrics, to keep it a little bit distant to the story, if it makes sense, so people can also relate to it.
sort of objectivity.
Yeah. Sorry?
like an objectivity to what you're writing in terms of allowing the listener to identify a
Yeah,
certain
exactly,
subject
exactly.
person.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quickly, could you go through some of the other song breakdowns a little bit? Just you don't have to go through everyone, obviously, but is there some that you're more lyrically proud of?
Um, well, See You in Hell is the one I'm the most proud of. And
Definitely
also
one of them.
musically. Yeah, I really love it. And I I think um in not lyrically but in on musically, sorry. Um I'm I love Infected Monarchy and Maleficent. Infected Monarchy because there is this power in this opening, which is the opening of the album, which is very um you hear the whole possibility, the whole spectrum, yeah, of the album. You hear the orchestrations, you hear the power, and you hear the softness and everything. And I really like the energy of that song. And with Maleficence, there's the let's say the dark side of the album. This is the most um this is the darkest song you will get on the album, with some growls and with some very with a heavy breakdown. And yeah, I would pick these two. But if you take the other songs, for example, Tell Me Why is the softest song on the album, and it's the closing of it. And it's actually very interesting because for this song we worked um, on the base of an idea from Jonas, our bass player, and he sent us the first idea, and then Nick, the drummer, worked on it, and then Adrian worked on it, and then I worked on it, and then we sent it to Oliver, our producer, and he worked on the orchestrations. And I think it was a very interesting work.
Sounds like it. Especially again, you were dealing with cross country, right? As far
Yeah, yeah.
as remotely working.
Thank you,
Uh,
Dropbox, Google Drive, and WeTransfer.
it's good that they're not asking for a cut of the money proceeds from the album. You know that since they were involved in the creation of the album, indirectly.
Oh well, we did it in a very oh, what's the word? I have the words in French sometimes in my mind. Fair way. If anyone was involved in the songwriting, then he will get his share. It's when you have to, after the end of the creation process, say who writes what. We've been very fair. And I started the writing process because obviously I was alone when the band started, but then when the guys joined, they were all involved in the creation. Especially, for example, I just mentioned "Tell Me Why," but also "Marching on Versailles" was at first an idea of Nick, our drummer, and he wrote the pretty much the whole instrumental part, and then sent it to me, and I wrote the whole vocal and lyric parts. And then we sent it to Oliver, who wrote the orchestrations, and it's pretty much the same for the song "Demons." So there's no fight around this.
So far, aside from See You in Hell, there was Revenge and Tell Me Why were the other two strongest tracks for me
Yeah.
in listen throughs. But obviously, it's the whole body of work that really is impactful. So definitely, April 3rd is going to be an exciting day to see
Thank you.
the reaction from the world. And this whole process for you has been about a year and a half of the creation of Ad Infinitum, and um, take me through the process really quick. How you I know you were pretty much involved with many other projects, and then you decided you wanted to create your own project from the ground up,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, actually, it started more than 1.5 years ago when if I really think about all the work that's been done. But okay, quickly from the beginning to until now, it started when, I was working with other bands, with my previous band, Even More, which was also my first band, and with Bridge of Light. And the thing was, we were working all together, but for example, with Even More, we would more like jam in the rehearsal room and then come up with a song.
Okay.
And with this process, you have a lot of compromises because um, it's kind of like this: everyone has to be pleased, and everyone has ideas, and sometimes you really have to combine everything, and it doesn't really get end up the way you had it in your head. And with Rage of Light, John is the main composer, so it's kind of his baby, and the whole instrumental part was his part, and I would just come up with the vocal lines and with some lyrics, but we would also work together with this, and it was and is very nice, but I also needed to do something from A to Z, and really something that is, let's say, completely what I have in my mind, because I feel very, I feel like I'm a creative person. I need also to 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 get these ideas on paper. I don't know if it makes sense, but not to just arrive when the process has been started, but also like, oh, I have this great idea. Okay, I will program some orchestrations and some drums, and then I will record some vocals, and then I will, okay, the drums could be better, so I redo it, and then yeah, to go through the whole process and not just arrive at the end of it. And I really needed to do it, and at some point I decided, okay, I'm just gonna write a few songs, record them, and release them. And then I met Oliver, and we let's say we took it to the next level, because we invested so much time, and at some point, to be honest, so much money as well. At first private money, and then through the crowdfunding campaign that we did, that it felt kind of wrong to do it halfway, you know. So I thought, no, I really want to build a complete band, like just not a solo project, but a band that goes on tour. And at some points, it's like when you start a video game, it's fun, and then you want to go further and further and further, and then you have the final boss in front of you. Because you just take you just start to really enjoy it, and enjoy to push it, and enjoy to learn about the business, and learn about the environment, and then how can I get to grow our fan base, and etc. So, and then I got in touch with Nick, who is the drummer of the band, and a very good friend of mine, because we toured together with Serenity. And I told him, okay, I would really love to have you in the band. And it's funny because Nick can play any instrument, so I basically asked him, what do you want to play? He said, oh, I would love to play again drums, because it's been a while since I haven't been a drummer in a band. And then he told me, I know this great guitar player, which is Adrian. And then I also got to meet Jonas on the road, who is the bass player, and the band was formed.
Nice.
Sorry, it was a 10 minutes explanation to get there.
I mean, it's definitely great, and I appreciate that. The one thing that impressed me too is the album hasn't been released, and you're already signed to Napalm Records. Now, I know Rage of Light was already, on Napalm Records. So was there any transition to getting this put on Napalm Records right away, or how did that come about?
I presented them the project. At first, they were not very enthusiastic about the solo project, but then we discussed again about doing a real band, and they liked the music, and then we signed the deal.
Awesome. Cool. Well, actually, I'll carry on to social networking, YouTube, and Patreon. You're very involved with that.
Yes.
How has that helped with getting the word out for everyone? How has Patreon been doing for you?
Oh, very good. It's actually, I think it's a very good platform to help artists right now, because this building a band takes so much time that at some point you cannot have a full-time job and do another full-time job beside, because it's very exhausting. And Patreon helped me a lot, freeing some time and focusing on building the band and building the promotion. It's really tough, because you really have to be present all the time. You cannot afford to disappear for 1 month, because people get so much offer from everywhere that they just lose their interest. So social media today is a big part of a promotion of a band. Of course, you have to have a good music, good image, content, and everything, but you have to adapt to our century and play the game of social media and give some content and be here regularly on every platform. It's
True.
yeah, the way it is.
And I understand there's a contest that you're running for the album as well.
Yeah,
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
yeah, sure. Um, so every person who pre-orders the album on the Napalm online shop before the release date on April 3rd has a chance to win one of the masks that the guys used for the very first photo shoot that we did.
Nice. And speaking of the photo shoot, am I correct? Is it Nat that you work with Nat exclusively?
Yes. Oh, she's great. She's amazing. I really wanted to work with her since the first time I saw her work. And since we were in different countries, we had any way to fly we fly somewhere to have this photo shoot. And so that's the that's how we got to work with her, because we thought, okay, since we have to fly, why not flying to her? And we did
Definitely.
that.
Was she there also during the making of See You in Hell, for example, for some of the scenes, or?
No, because we shot this one in Austria,
Oh, okay.
and she's in Madrid, so it's a bit complicated.
And yeah, by the way, your videos were incredible.
Thank
Also, See You
you.
in Hell, great job, costumes, makeup,
Oh,
setting.
thank you very much.
Um, so definitely a lot to be proud of again. And once again, April 3rd coming out. I guess we'll have to wait, unfortunately, for tour. So I really appreciate you taking the time
Thank you.
today.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much
much,
for having
Melissa.
me.
And have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.